Welcome back to Balanced Basketball Academy, and today we're breaking down Game 3 of the 2006 NBA Finals, in which Dwayne Wade dropped 42 points. This is a hugely significant game because the Miami Heat ended up winning the title after this point and giving Dwayne Wade his first NBA championship. I got this request in comments several months ago, and I kept it on a list, and then I finally decided, yeah, I want to take a look at this game. I watched it, I loved it, I took notes, and now we're going to watch it all over again, and I'm going to point out some really neat things that I found out in this game from such an elite guard such as Dwayne Wade. So this is the first shot Dwayne Wade created for himself in this game. There was another shot that he had a layup early in the game that was just kind of a, he's in the right place, right time kind of layup. This is one where he's in transition, he's dribbling down the floor, and he ends up with this pull-up like right inside the three-point line. It's a rhythm pull-up. This is something Dwayne Wade's particularly good at, but unless you're making a lot of these, you should not be shooting these in today's game because you will get benched. I have been benched for doing stuff like this. You miss too many of these, your coach is going to be like, what are you doing, dude? You're shooting that far away from the three-point line. You're just on the wrong side of it. So it's a make, but it's not the most ideal shot. For those of you who don't know, Shaquille O'Neal requested a trade way back when from the Lakers, and he ended up getting traded to the Miami Heat. Now, that's him on the post in the finals. He is not the Shaquille O'Neal of the late 90s and early aughts, but he is still a dominant player and something that the Mavericks don't really have an answer for. They end up fouling him the entire game. What happens is Dwayne Wade gets the ball out on the wing. Shaq is posting up. That's what a big man, needs to be doing, is posting up, getting good position. He's got great position right now. Wade fakes that pass, and his defender decides to stunt towards Shaquille O'Neal because as soon as Shaq catches the ball, they want to double him and get the ball out of his hands. So Dwayne Wade takes advantage of that and drives. He misses the shot, sure, but he's given enough space and a defender who's on the back foot, and he uses his speed, gets right to the middle, and takes advantage. That's a way where you're able to read what the defense is doing around other players that are on your team, because there's other players on your team, assuming that, it's not a complete one-man show or it's just four other random guys. If they have somebody that they're looking out for and they're preoccupied with, that can be used to your advantage, and that's what Dwayne Wade does right here. This is super slight. Dwayne Wade realizes that Shaq has got a good post-up position again. When Shaq gets the ball, Wade clears out. This is really important because his defender now can't be used against Shaq as another help side or defense guy. If Wade takes the defender with him to the other side of the court, Shaq has one less person he has to deal with. You're letting your big man give some time and space to breathe. If you don't do that, it's kind of worse for everybody because then one defender can guard two people at once. We're dealing with the zone. I'm going to preface this by saying that the Miami Heat were not a spectacular three-point shooting team in 2006. They didn't shoot a large volume of threes. They didn't make a ton of them, based on what I found out. They shot 33.7% from the three-point line in the regular season and 28.6% in the finals. Pretty bad. So you're going to see the Mavericks playing a zone for a decent amount of the possessions because they just want to contain Shaq and because everybody else is not enough of a three-point threat to be a problem. Three-point shooting kills zones. That's why we don't see them as much anymore. This is the other issue with the zone. There's no defensive assignments, so everybody just runs out, and if you don't communicate properly, then two people can be on one person, and you leave a man open. This is exactly what happens right here. Right there, we have two players coming out. Nowitzki and one other player is coming out to contest this shot. Dwayne Wade is left alone in the dunker spot. It is called the dunker spot for a reason, because in the NBA, you're right around the block area and you're a dribble away or a pump fake away from being able to dunk the basketball. There you go. Because the communication is poor, Wade is left wide open. He just takes an extra dribble, And he makes a beautiful dunk. Gets a technical foul, though, for hanging on the rim. So this is an early version of a Euro step. It's just a step-through move. Still similar principles. So Wade notices that the defender's hands are at kind of mid-level or down, sweeps over high, and all the defender can really do is go after his arms. He draws the foul, which I think is a block, or it might be on the arm. Either way, he gets the defender to foul him by keeping that ball up and away. And the final thing is that it's a nice change of direction move, right? The defender is running hard in one way, and Wade goes in the other direction to get the defender just off of him for long enough that he can get that shot off. This is one of the 2 examples that I found in this particular game of how effective an inside-out move can be, okay? Let's take a look at it in detail here, right? He gets a screen and roll. He's attacking really hard to the right. And he could cross over, cut off his man, get him on his backside, and then attack on the left side. But he doesn't do that. And I want to point out how he does this inside out. It is not a fast inside out. It's not slow either. But he fully rotates that ball all the way over his center line, not just inside out, like nice and tight. It's a tiny dribble and there's just a little bit of movement with your hand over the ball. He pushes that ball all the way over his center line and pushes back out because he's selling the move. The point is not to be fast, it's to sell the move. He's selling that he's crossing the ball over. And then when he doesn't, it takes the defense off guard because they believe that he was hopping in the other direction, and then he goes in for a layup. He misses this layup, sure, but the move is very, very good because, again, his primary goal is to sell the crossover because the inside out is a fake crossover. If you have the ball, you keep driving until someone stops you. If nobody stops you, there's no point in passing the ball off or in, pulling back or something like that. And that's what Wade does. We'll take a look at this. Right here. So Wade kind of does like a fake pass. Nowitzki goes for it. Terry is behind him. And Wade just drives. Nobody stops him. Nobody goes after the ball handler and tells him, hey, you're not going to make the shot. And he just finishes. Look at him go right here. Boom. Slight little fake, and then he just goes in. Because Nowitzki should have been there, faced up with him, stopped him, and forced him to make the pass. And a lot of times, young players will think, oh, as soon as I see a defender just in my periphery who's kind of near me, I should pass the ball off because I'm being guarded. You're not guarded until that player gives you attention, until that player can actually slow you down or stop you. This is just a beautiful move. So they swing the ball around. The defense is in a zone. They're scrambling. Nowitzki is scrambling. He's caught on the back foot. Wade has a running start. So that's effective. And if I'm going to pick who's faster, Dwayne Wade or Dirk Nowitzki, I'm picking Wade every day of the week. Here's that running start. Drives in. And then he uses the rim and the net to defend his shot. He double pumps and he gets as close to that backboard as he possibly can to guarantee that shot's not going to get blocked. It's a very smart move. And also, don't get it twisted. Dwayne Wade's an incredibly athletic player. That's just an athletic move. Not everybody can do that, but he's using that athleticism in a smart way. So this is another time in which Wade got fouled, but he made a really good move to get him into position for scoring. Let's take a look at it. Right now, Dwayne Wade's defender in this corner over here is ball watching. He's watching the ball, not ball and man. So he ends up thinking, okay, the ball's over there, and he just ends up just staring at it. Look, right here. He's just looking at the ball. Dwayne Wade notices this, his back is turned, so Wade says, I'm going to cut back door because I have this wide open lane. I'm going to use this lane, all this free real estate. His defender, by the time he realizes that Dwayne Wade's gone, can't even get into the picture to foul him. It has to be one of the big men who has to foul him. If a defender's back is turned to you and you have a lane, go back door. Go back door. The reason why I point out this play is not because it's a good play, it's just because there's some context here. You could see that Shaq fell on Dwayne Wade's left knee, and there was a slight hyperextension there. Dwayne Wade's going to be dealing with a hobbled knee for the rest of the game. We still have basically 2 halves left to play. Let's take a look at what he does. This is a good pick and roll situation. He's got the space. This is a good pull-up for him. He's made this pull-up a million times before, but he misses it pretty badly. I would crack this up to his knee is giving him problems, so it's hard for him to gauge how much power he should put in his shot. And because of that, he puts too much power in his shot. So he's hampered. He's missing some shots. He is not feeling super hot right now on the knee. I don't know if he got medication at some point during one of the timeouts. I never am able to see that because they cut all the timeouts in this footage, but it's not doing very well for him. So let's see what he does in his next shot. There it is. When you are not feeling so hot, when you're tired, when you're hurt, God forbid, I don't want people to get hurt, but when you're dealing with your body not being 100% in some way, shape, or form, the best thing you can do is go to the bucket, drive, get a foul, get some free throws. You have a much higher shot at making some free throws than you do at making a contested jumper. You just do. And again, you can adjust a little bit as you're there. You know, you can kind of gauge, okay, this shot's off. Why is it off? Instead of all the other factors of, you know, shooting in live ball situations. And driving to the basket, again, you're closer to the rim. It makes your life easier, it makes everything a little bit simpler, and it gives yourself a higher chance. That's what Wade does right here. So Wade gets this screen. You can see that his player gets caught. There's a nice switch right there. Great screen. Wade basically does the equivalent of splitting the defense. So you see somebody who'll do a push cross and split the defense. He does a little fancier version of that with a spin move, but it's the same thing. Gets all the way to the rim in one dribble and makes that shot and one. That's a really, really excellent move, but it's also a smart play because Wade is using his limitations and saying, okay, this is what I need to do. I'm going to take what's given to me, sure, but I'm also going to attack. We get another screen and roll right here. This is the second example I have of the inside out. It's also very good. Look at this right here. He is really faking that inside out. He fully turns his hips like he's going in the other direction, pushes that inside out, and then goes. That's brilliant stuff, man. It's brilliant stuff. The inside out is such a simple move. Look at that. He fully fakes with that left leg. He's cutting with that left leg, pushing out. That ball's going over a center line. It is not a fast inside out. Like I said, it's not fast, but he sells the move. That's so important. And then he gets himself an angle into the rim, gets the guy behind him, finishes and dunks. That second part's more the athleticism of Dwayne Wade, but that inside out move can be used by somebody at any level. His player turns into that screen and gives Wade a lead foot, so he decides to do a screen reject, and he crosses over, gets that angle, and is able to, well, he's not able to finish inside. I'm gonna bite my tongue a little bit there. But because this defender sees Shaquille coming over and Wade selling that he's gonna go in that direction, if the defense leans into that screen too hard and is trying to get through that screen a little too hard and they're not truly respecting that you can go either direction, reject the screen. It's one of the best things you can do. Because people will predict again and again and again. They're like, oh, they're going to do this. They're just going to go into the screen and they're going to do the play. Sometimes subvert the expectations. He gets a back screen from, I think that's Alonzo Mourning, right here. Comes off that back screen. He's open for quite some time because right now the threat is Mourning. I think it's Mourning. If I'm wrong, my bad. Rolling to the rim. The screener's rolling to the rim. So Wade's left wide open out at the three-point line. In today's NBA, you're not leaving guards out there like that anymore because they will take a lot less time to get a three in your eye. They're just gonna do it. But Wade right here, he's taking the highest percentage three-pointer in basketball. The corner three is the closest three-pointer, and it is statistically the highest percentage made three-pointer because it's the closest. He squares up, he uses his legs, and he gets the shot to go. That's really solid to see from Wade. And again, if you're going to shoot a three-pointer and you're not a big-time three-point shooter, that's actually your highest percentage shot. Wade offers a little jab in the other direction just to get the defense to potentially bite on it. They don't really give much, honestly. They're giving him the baseline. I've said this before. The top foot is not perpendicular to Wade. It's outside of Wade, which makes the defender actually be in a little bit easier position. When you're guarding somebody, say this is you. This is your feet right here, okay? You're guarding Dwayne Wade. This is Dwayne Wade. You want to keep him from going this direction. You step out that way. You don't do this, right? You don't do that. You step out this way. Then he'll go this way because now it's difficult because you're physically in the position where he wants to be as opposed to just being sideways. Also, you need to have enough foot speed that you can kind of keep up with him even with that slight advantage that you're going to take. But when I say that people shouldn't be guarding somebody sideways, I mean that you shouldn't be guarding somebody sideways and then being exactly in line with them. You should be outside of their feet if you're going to guard them sideways. So when they head into you, you have enough time to step up into their chest and keep them from going in that direction. There's my clarification. Wade doesn't have an angle, goes baseline, and he goes into his defender and goes up with his right hand. This is kind of risky. He could have gotten blocked here, honestly. The other thing that he could have done is he could have jumped in and finished with his left extended. That might have been a good move as well, but in this case, works good enough, and he gets the and one. Shaquille O'Neal comes up with a screen. He moves. It's a moving screen. I don't know how else to put it. But let's talk about the validity of what Wade does. Because of this moving screen, his defender goes under the screen. Wade is given just enough space that he can pull up. If somebody is going to go under the screen, that means that the pull-up is probably going to be there. It won't be there for very long. You'll have a very small window, but that's the read that is made. So Wade, this time, he rejects the screen because he knows that he has an angle. Before the screen's even been set, he knows he can get by his guy, that he's faster than him. And so he drives in, goes into his player, gets that guy behind him. Now he's dealing with the second line of defense, and this is what he does. He double pumps. Why does he double pump? Well, it looks nice, but also because the defender's going to have a harder time timing that block, and it gives him more time to be able to adjust where the finish is actually going to end up. And he makes the shot. That's an athletic move from Wade, but it also is just a smart move. If you have a defender that you know is slower than you, just go. Don't dance with them, just go. And that's what Wade does. Although I will say this, most players at this point in the NBA in 2006, there's not a lot of human beings that are going to be faster on the basketball court than Dwayne Wade. Here's that screen and roll again. A pick and roll with Shaquille O'Neal is one spectacular, terrifying offensive move that you can do, as the Mavericks probably well know. So Shaq comes up with the screen. Wade knows that his guy's going fully into the screen and decides to go baseline. The help side player, or the switch, sags. Wade has all the time in the world to set himself and hit the shot. He seems to be doing okay. I don't know what kind of medication he has in his knee at this point as far as pain goes, because he is dealing with some pain, and he was hobbling for a good portion of the third. And in the fourth, he looks like Superman, so I don't know. But when he seems to set his shot and really get his feet under him, he seems to be in a position where he can still make shots regardless of the knee. But if he rushes it, then he's not going to be able to make it. If you're the Mavericks, The reason why this player is sagging is because they don't want a true switch. When Shaq is rolling to the rim, they don't want Dwayne Wade's defender on Shaquille O'Neal and then Shaquille's defender on Wade. They don't want that switch because then they'll just dump it down to Shaquille and Shaquille will dunk it on this poor soul. That's just, even in 2006, Shaquille's still somebody to be feared. And he gets hacked the entire game because they can't guard him. So because of that, they're trying to do this fake double on a guy that doesn't have the ball, which I understand. Wade has an opening and makes the shot.
Knocked away, and the Heat survive.
And by
Dwayne Wade.
There you go.
A stirring fourth quarter comeback.
So, Dwayne Wade keeps the Miami Heat into the NBA Finals, keeping them from that 3-0 series deficit. And then they end up winning the next 3 games, finishing in 6, getting their first NBA title, Dwayne Wade Finals MVP, and they're kind of at the top of the world shortly after this game. This game is one of the most pivotal games in Miami Heat's storied history. And Wade was the leader of that game, scoring almost half of their points. Again, the guy is an athletic freak. He is spectacularly fast, he's excellent with the ball, but he also has some things that I think any player can learn from, and I hope that's something that you guys got from today. And with that, again, comment. Let me know. What do you guys want? Games in the future, stuff that you want me to break down. I do read those comments, and one of those comments is the reason why this video exists, so just keep that in mind. Guys, 80% of you are not subscribed. Please, if you've made it this far, just subscribe. Like, I appreciate it if you do. If you don't, I still appreciate you've made it this long. And I'll see you guys in the next one.